that's a little bit of a learning curve.
Okay.
Be easier to drive up in here, so just go ahead, hop up there.
Okay.
Kind of ease forward easy on the throttle. Usually around 1,000 RPMs is 6 miles an hour, or somewhere close. It'll come up on this in a second.
And we're at 10.
That's 1,000. Just add 2 zeros to this,
Okay.
and that's your RPMs.
Okay.
Your speed is going to be on here. We're going to change something here. There we go.
I like it.
So set it up here so you have your speed, your heading, water temperature, depth, time of day, and position.
Nice.
Now you would think once I changed it on this one, it would change it on all of them. Every chart or function you use, you have to set up individually.
Really?
So when we get out here, we'll set it up so it's easy to do. Now, on this thing here, there's your tilt and trim. The motor's up a little high right now, so here's the... So when you go to take off, you want it 1 to 2 bars over here.
Okay.
And as you get up on plane, then you can trim it up and you can adjust a little bit with the trim tabs. So what you got to remember on this, where other outboards you would just bring that back to neutral and go into reverse.
Yeah.
On this, you have to bring the throttle back to idle and then shift.
Okay. So you shift it into reverse and then your throttle's normal again. You know.
Yeah, so you have to, you can try, just bring it back to idle, and it's different from, okay, now shift, pull it, and you'll feel a click. Feel a little spot there.
Maybe right there.
Yeah, and then you'd shift into reverse if you're gonna, and then you use your throttle again. So it's a little bit of a learning curve because you got 2 levers. Just shove it forward to go into forward.
Okay.
But that's where you would shift into reverse if you were going into
Yeah,
reverse.
like if you're going near your dock, your marinas, you know, and you want to back up, just remember before you do anything with the gear shift, to pull the throttle back to idle.
Right. Okay.
So idle, then it's like neutral almost in the middle.
Yeah, the middle is neutral,
Yeah.
and back is reverse. It's the same as a conventional outboard control,
Okay.
but now
Yeah.
you have 2 levers.
It's just in separate, yeah. So center is neutral and then
Yeah,
forward or
and
back.
that's because you have the rear station.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Just go ahead and push it down. As it gets on the plane, ease it back. Right, and ease it back. There you go.
The motor's a little nicer and stuff now.
Just stop it here.
Oh,
That's it.
is that all the way in reverse? I'm not used to looking at it.
Yeah, it's in reverse, but
Okay.
this boat's a lot heavier than your other boat, so the distance it's going to take to stop is a lot more.
Yeah.
So if you have to stop, you're going to have to shift in to reverse and give it some gas.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. All the way in the back there, that's your battery switch. So 90% of the time, there's no reason to run that on anything but boat. That way it charges both batteries. Your exception to that will be if you fish and you use your live well and it's running a long time and the motor's off, you want to switch it to battery 1 or 2 and just operate off that. That way, if a battery goes dead, you can start on the other. down here, there's a through hole down in there. You have to reach down in there to get it. There's a pump on top, a valve, and then the through hole for your boat. There's a blue handle on it. When it's in line, it's open. So that means you can use it. When you turn it 90 degrees, it's closed. You're leaving the boat in the water, so that should be closed. Before I do that, we'll turn on the live well. That just pushes water that looks like it's in there, and then it fills up with that pump. Use this for four. Make sure it's coming. In here is your life jackets. So they're all adult. So if you bring kids on the boat, make sure you have some kids' life jackets. Now, they actually started enforcing a law this year that said under 26 feet, you're supposed to have that tether to you when you're on plane. Now that's the Coast Guard. Maryland says they're not going to enforce it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Familiar with the porta potty?
We'll probably never use it.
Okay.
It's probably coming off, but yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you pour water in the tank on the right side.
Okay.
You pump it to fill the bowl. To flush it, you pull the handle off.
Okay. Well, we got to use in case.
Yeah,
Never
just
know.
it's a just in case.
You never know.
Yep.
Right. Here's your gauge. This is your tilt and trim. All right. Your fuel gauge. I don't know why it isn't full. We filled it up. It's just us
It's
rocking.
going up and down.
It's rocking. All right.
Yeah, I did see it was full when we got on.
Yeah. Combo A is the one I like. It gives you all this information here. Your RPMs, tilt and trim, fuel gauge. Ignore the speed and use right here. Right here is your fuel economy. So there's going to be some combination between 38 to 4200 RPMs, the angle of tilt and trim on the motor, and a little bit of trim tab that will give you your best fuel economy. It's something you're going to have to play with and learn. It's just not something I can say, set it here and this will work.
Okay.
And it's all going to be dependent on sea conditions too, is where you set that angle of the boat. Right. Let's see, there's the 4 different combos in here. You can go through, you can just toggle through them. It just changes the layout. I just find A for me works the best. You can pick whatever you'd like to use.
Fine by me there.
This we could spend hours on.
I'm sure we could.
Home is your friend. Brings you back to the main menu. So this is on the chart menu. The navigation and fishing charts are pretty much alike. The only time they really differ is when you get out into deep water like the ocean canyons and you get a lot of these contours. In the river, you're not going to see much difference in contours. You can try them and see what you like. So this one's going to come up with the 4 corners. To change the layout here, you go into the menu and then edit the overlay, and you can do a bunch of different things. But I just changed it to the sidebar, and it gives you this layout too.
Okay.
Okay. And you have your combos. You'll probably use this one 90% of the time that you use in any combo. So it already has the setup here.
That's good.
And then your sonar, you'll probably use this one if you're just using it most of the time. Do you want the navigation on the sonar too?
Probably should have it on
Okay.
there.
Hold on.
Because you're getting deep into settings.
I can't change it on this one. I forgot.
Okay.
It doesn't let me change it on that particular screen. On this one is important. When you get home, set up an account with Garmin. You just follow the instructions for Garmin Active Captain. And when you set that up, go download the app onto your phone. And this will link to your phone with Wi-Fi. Now, any updates you get, you can download right through your phone. You don't have to download them onto an SD card and download them onto here.
That's good.
The other thing it'll do is you'll be able to see on your phone everything this is doing. You can further set it up that your text message will pop up on here, phone calls will pop up on there. So instead of looking for this stuff everywhere, I'm going to favorites. All right, I'm going to pick charts. And then I'll go to combos. And sonar. And now you have the 3 most common ones you use right there, so you don't have to go hunting for them. You can add them or you can take them out the same way. Just hold down until the pop-up menu comes up. It'll ask if you want to delete it or to add it. There's other things you can do with this too. This is a Garmin camera. You can actually put a camera on the back of your boat, and if you catch a big fish, you can just hit record and it'll record you catching your big fish.
That's cool.
Let's see, this info button. All right, you're going to get so many tracks on this thing that it's going to clutter the screen. So you go into your tracks, you can edit them, clear them, save them, and name them, or just delete them. If you get confused with this thing, here's your owner's manual. It's in user data at the bottom. You can just go into it, open it up, and read anything you need to. There's no paper copy anymore. You can download the stuff off of the internet, but Garmin doesn't give any books with their stuff anymore. At Garmin Active Captain, once you do that and you link to it, it'll register all your devices with Garmin.
Okay.
So your radio, just turn it on here. Is there any channels on the radio you listen to, or you haven't had a radio before?
We haven't really had one.
Okay. What I normally program into these for people is 16 and 22, just the Coast Guard channels. And then you find there's other stuff you want to listen to, you can program them in. It's simple. You just go into the scan menu, and right now it's on 16, so I'll save that channel, and I'll go to 22, and I'll save that channel, and then I'll scan the save channels.
Scan the 2 channels, okay.
Yeah, that way if you get a Coast Guard broadcast or warning or anything, somebody calls, distress call, it'll pop up. This button here and this button here do the same things. These are linked together. That's your distress call. So if you pull this little cover up and press the red button, it's going to send a distress call to the Coast Guard. So if you get kids on here and they like to touch things, if they get their fingers in here and press that, they're sending a distress call to the Coast Guard.
And there's no way to turn it off.
I got to read how to do it.
Okay.
I'd like to disable it and just put a remote thing that nobody knows. But anyway, this SOS, if you hold it down for a few seconds, will also send it.
Okay. Don't push the red button.
If somebody sends a distress call within your radio range, it'll pop up on your screen with all the data, their position, and everything else. So,
okay.
It's a neat thing. And then somewhere between 20 and 30 hours, take a nice leisurely ride to Deale. You need to see the boat back for the 20-hour service. You get to your hours, hit menu, go over to trip, hit set. So right now it's got 1.4 total hours. You can reset everything on this page except the total hours. There's another menu in here, the maintenance menu. Right now it shows you only have 1 out of 100 hours. It reads in whole numbers. So when it comes down for service somewhere between 20 and 30 hours, they will reset this. And then it'll start the 0 out of 100 hour service interval. So once a year or every 100 hours you service the motor. Whether you get 100 hours on it this summer or not, it comes out the water at some point, you service the motor.
Okay.
if you forget to service it at 100 hours, it'll let you know. It'll tell you service required, service needed.
Will it remind you if you forget it 20 hours?
No. For the first 10 hours, you can't troll.
Okay, we can't troll. I told you that.
Okay, that's
Just
fine.
kidding.
The break-in period on this, for the first 5 hours, don't run it much over 4,000 RPMs for any extended periods of time and vary your speed. For the second 5 hours, don't go over 5,000 for any extended periods of time and vary your speed. Once an hour, just open it wide open, bring it.
Once an hour?
Yeah, all you're doing is making the motor run at all different speeds. You're setting the rings and the pistons and just getting the motor broken.
Okay.
There's another product called Ring Free. Put it in after the 20-hour service, and then I don't put much in my boat. My boat holds 207 gallons, and it's $50 a quart.
Okay.
I just put it in a couple times this summer to help keep carving off the rings.
Okay.
Running at trolling speeds for all day long is not good for the motor when it's brand new.
Sure, that makes sense.
I
I have a question. How do you flush the engine?
I'm going to show you just before.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Oh, I see.
You just run it through that. You took our do that. When the motor's on, you can tilt it up and it'll still flush it. Just let it run for about 5 minutes when the motor's warm. But you can never run that motor hooked to that out of the water. It won't cool. It may cool the power head, but it will not cool it won't put water through the water pump, and you'll burn the water pump up in about a minute.
So it's just for flushing.
Yes.
And do you recommend doing that every time?
You don't have to do it every time.
Like most people do it, what, like every other time, every third?
If you use it for the winter, for the weekend, and it's going to sit for a few days,
Okay.
then flush that.
Okay. So if we're going to be on it 3 days in a row, we'll leave it alone. But then at the end of the 3 days, if it's going to be a few days, flush it.
Flush that. If
Okay.
you look down in there, you'll see a white pump. Yeah, that's both your big well pump and the wash down. There's a line that comes off and goes to a pump back here for the wash down, and the bait well pump is on top of it. Below that pump is a handle down there. So I'm going to see if I can't get in there and reach down far enough. Turn it off. All right, it's now off. You'll feel it when you reach down in there. No,
Is there, I know this is a dumb question. Is there a way to manually turn the bilge on?
Yes, up here. I'll go over that switch panel before I get off the boat. So whatever you do, if you leave it closed and you don't use the live well, every now and then exercise that valve. It will freeze up if you ignore it. Yeah. So here you have tackle drawers, and those are 4 lines down there. Fire extinguisher. Now your fire extinguisher, check it once a year. Make sure the gauge is in the green and shake it to see if you can feel the dry powder in it move. The one thing you can't do in this boat is you can never use the windshield wipers with the windows open. It will bend the arms, guaranteed.
Okay,
So on the
I see
panel,
them.
you have your navigation lights. Navigate is when you're moving, it turns your red and green lights on up front, and on the roof, you turn your anchor light on. You have your cabin lights in here.
Oh, it toggles red and white.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Cockpit lights. Under the gunnels will be lights.
Oh, yeah.
Your bilge pump,
Okay, that's the bilge.
windshield wipers.
Why do the symbols for the bilge and the windshield wipers look alike?
If you cut down here, they're really not.
Okay.
One is a wiper and the other is a little boat.
Oh, I see.
It's just real close. It's not much different. All right. The spreader lights. So on the back.
Oh yeah, let's see. Okay. Yep.
And then the raw water pump. Now those won't work right now because we closed the fitting.
Okay.
So that's just, you know, straight out of the bay. So.
Yep, I know.
And then you have an extra switch at the bottom if you wanted to add something. You have 2 charging ports for your phone right there.
Great.
On your old boat, did you have the little pump ball?
Primer ball.
Well, you don't need it on this one. There's one on there if you could find it somewhere.
But you don't need it here.
It's fuel injected motor.
Oh, that just
Start
sucks it right out,
Just
yeah.
right in your car. This one here, you can turn the motor off. Hear that noise?
Mm-hmm.
That's your trim tabs automatically retracting.
They retract
So every
it.
time you turn that off, they'll retract.
Well, that's-
Make sure you cover your screens when you're done because the sun will bleach them. Suntan lotions are terrible on this stuff. Copper tone is the worst one that
Okay.
I found. You put it on and go like this, you walk away, and it's,
Frown mark.
yeah.
Okay.
If that happens, the best thing to do is water and a magic eraser. It usually takes it off.
Okay.
Red wine also, when it hits,
We're beer on the boat, so.
okay, I'm just telling you, red wine, when it hits it, it makes a stain.
Okay.
You wash it off right away, and a magic eraser takes it off.
Okay.
The other thing you can do is turn the key on. The red and black buttons are start and stop. So if you push the red, it'll start the motor.
So there's nothing we need to do to change the control from the front to the back.
It's active all the time. So you need
That's good.
people on your boat, tell them.
If you see that moving, don't mess with it.
Don't touch it at all.
Tell them don't touch the controls.
Yeah.
They can bump the throttle and make you go fast. They can also turn the steering wheel. So now when you do take off on the boat, always look back to make sure the engine's pointed straight back.
Okay.
'Cause for some reason
It
it got
turns.
turned and you give it some gas, the boat's just going to spin in a real quick
You might
circle.
lose some people.
Yeah, especially if there's people around.